Hello people, I just want to go over quickly what I'm using in 3.19 Calandra. Since archnemesis is pretty scary, I've went through a couple builds already. This is what I landed back on originally, is what I was going for. Switched off it and then I'm switched back into it. The reason for that is because this build uses Grace, Determination, Defiance Banner, and Temporal Chains with scaled effectiveness of the Temporal Chains with Awakened Blasphemy, 20% quality. This build is very safe for leveling. This is a good hardcore build. This version is not hardcore, but this is a softcore version. Although it's very safe, it does come with a lot of damage. Let me just pull up the POB here. This is the POB that I'm using currently. Most of my build is referenced from this person right here. Your Audi enjoys POE. Go check this guy out. Very good reference, very good build. So this is how I've kind of built it the same way. The only difference is I'm speccing into more defensive nodes, kind of like the life regen, lethe shade. Other than that, it's very similar. This guild comes with a lot of damage. 10 blades is about 23 mil. And as you can tell, you cast multiple times. So this is definitely not a hardcore only, like no damage type thing. But we do have a lot of armor, evasion. We have perfect spell suppression. So spell suppression chance is 91 here. In game, if I can get the right menu, Jesus. 100% is right here. 53 on prevention. 24k evasion. Almost 18k armor. And yeah, 86% chaos res, which also gives us damage. And you'll be able to find that all in the POB, right? Spell suppression with evasion, duration, damage of auras, resistance is multiplier, lingering, your typical stuff, less damage taken over time. You can be able to shape it out the way you want. The one thing I do want to note is the chance to poison, actually. So we go to calcs, and we go to blade blast and chance to poison. So we got two ways of reaching this. There's one way with 3 jewels with 5%, and I believe toxic strikes. The other way is 2 jewels, 5%, 2 septic spell medium clusters, and you're good. That's it. You don't need anything else. You don't need toxic strikes. Now, the reason we want to do 2 septic spells and 2 jewels is so we can actually free up a chance to poison slot in our 6 link or an anointment. And we're doing both, so we can use Empower up to a 28 Blade Blast. Once I get my Empower to level 4, then I'll get a 29 Blade Blast. Really excessive damage, though, at that point. The other thing is I can now anoint Dirty Techniques, which just lets us use our damage faster and just more multiplier. Really, the other option would be kind of Corruption. Apart from those, probably the most damage dealt, there are defensive options for your anointment. Things I suggest, like Heart of Oak, since life regen is a problem on this build, and damage over time is the scariest thing for this build, technically. That and a ton of spells put on top of each other, like Cast on Death. But I would assume that you don't stand in those, hopefully. Apart from Heart of Oak, if you don't really have a good shield, currently as it stands, we need at least a decent amount of suppression on our shield, helm, or boots, or gloves, whichever you can get it on. If you can't get it on those, you can always anoint Quick Step for faster map clear. You can do Intuition for more survivability. There's a lot of defensive options and just options in general that you can go into for your anointment. Pick and choose, that's up to you. Apart from that, I believe that's really it. Physical damage, large cluster. You could also go into overcharge for your anointment for map clear, although I don't really suggest that. But To explain the gear right now, I use a conk effect in my blade fall, so it's more compact and just a lot of the damage is overlapping. So better way to do this is faster casting. Basically the best way to make this is probably get for what I did is I got a 5 chaos 85 base shaper, and I threw harvest on it, and I did it 2 times, and I hit this. I hit tier 1 or tier 2 life or whatever. What is this? Tier 1 life, yeah. Tier 1 resist, and I was fine with that. I threw on regen because we need regen. Any good old belt, any good old shoes. I suggest getting onslaughts. You have better map clear. Ming's Heart. The way to get 70% is Fizz and Chaos modifier catalyst. So pretty nice. Make sure you get like a 59 base or 58. Other than that, is going to be really bad. And these are pretty cheap, probably like 40 chaos. Let's see. So let's see, 58. Yeah, about 60, 50 chaos, 30 chaos. That's affordable, right? I'm using obliteration right now. I'm testing stuff out. The wand I was using before was this one, double dot, cast speed, physical is extra chaos. This one is probably better, probably more suited. I'm just kind of trying stuff out. Obliteration is also a very cheap budget thing to just use. So if you can't get a good wand, this wand is really nice, and it costs 5 chaos. I believe I'm trying to hit, I believe, gain Holy Might on crit or something like that, so we can generate frenzy charges. Apart from that, Despair Ring, this is my old poison concoction one. I've been trying to roll these, but I haven't gotten anything decent for Despair. Yeah, that's a problem in itself. Shield's pretty simple. Make sure you have the open prefix for Fizz. Physical damage is extra chaos. You should really get that. It's a lot of damage. Also, you can get Eldritch Currency to roll Fizz damage as extra chaos. You can also roll Fizz. So this is what this guy does. Here, let me just show. The other way is really nice, is having a essenced insanity gloves with more attack and cast speed for socketed gems, and then you roll Eldritch Currency for chaos, damage leeches life, and multiplier. I want to make the switch to this, but I currently cannot. Well, I can, but I don't want to. I'm really lazy, and I don't really care. The only problem with this is you lose the conk effect from your blade fall, which kind of disperses your damage. Doesn't really overlap the damage. So I don't really know if I suggest this or not. If you're dying a lot, then just go for this and try to hit chaos damage leech. Apart from that, Shaper gloves are cheap. This thing cost me a total of 7 chaos. Actually, I think even less. I think it was actually 6 chaos. Helm. I prefer Temporal Chains Curse Effect. You can also run Temporal Chains Curse Effect on Eldritch Currency. You can also do the same for Despair. And you can get Despair enchant on your helmet. But I do suggest either or Despair or Temporal Chains Curse Effect on your helmet for enchant. Just buy the helmet and Harvest roll it. Buy Harvest Life Force. Trust me, Harvest is not as bad as you think it is. It really isn't. The only problem is you need an open suffix to get this. I would say this is required for bosses. This is very good for bosses. Really, really get the crafted mod. Increase duration of ailments while focused. All you do is you press one button. Boom. And now you have more boss damage for 4 seconds. It's really good. Please, please go for it. Apart from that, the other way to mitigate my damage over time, deaths, were life regen, marble amulet, and I got one with level of all physical. And the way I did this was I got the physical, I put life catalyst on it, which was very expensive. I didn't know they were that expensive. Then I essenced it with envy for chaos damage. I hit tier 1 cast and tier 1 life. I was okay with that. The damage over time was just an add-on, pretty nice. Maximum energy was pretty int. If I could get this off somehow, which I will never annul this probably in my life, but if I were to have it off, I would probably put an Elion craft on, or a max minimum frenzy charge, I believe is prefix. I could be wrong. Let me check that right now, actually. Frenzy is, I don't even know because I don't even have it. So, other thing, minimum frenzy or Elion craft, whatever you want. The way we deal with mana, if you're trying to follow this along, is we have an enduring mana flask with order on it, which means we less cost of mana. Now, I'm running an enlighten. I'm trying to get a level 4. Technically, if I do this and this, we can cast one time. But if we go like this with the mana flask, you know, you can kind of just keep casting. And then we hit our mana flask again, and we're casting. And we're casting. Mana flask again. You can, there you go. So the downside of this build, you have to press 1, 2, maybe 3 when you're at a boss buttons, 4 or 5. You had a total of like 5 or 6 buttons. But in the end, it's a very tanky build. It's very sustaining. Once you get Chaos Leech, it's even better. It does a ton of damage in reference to the PoB. I have about 23 million for 10 blades, which obviously we cast a little bit more than 10 blades, I believe. Yeah, we got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Yeah, we got about 20 blades here. So I don't know what 40 blades is excessive. That's 40 mil. That's too much. So I'd say we're about 25 mil pure DPS with our poison stacks. That's pretty much the build. It's very tanky. I've gotten to... Yesterday alone, I went up 216%. I went from 93, which was all stuck, to 95. And that's about it. If you have any questions, I'll leave the PoB and the Ninja account that I referenced in the description. And I hope your Kalandra goes well. Good luck.